I'm really passionate about helping founders get their startups off the ground. I know what you're thinking. Do I have time for this? As a fellow entrepreneur, I can relate. But here's my promise. No sales pitches, no programs, no ad placements, only actionable content, and I hope it'll be useful. I am Faris. After a career building, co-founding, growing 4 companies in Silicon Valley and abroad, after selling the last company to Dentsu, one of the top global companies, and after receiving a lot of input, advice, mentorship from friends, industry thought leaders, and also strangers and competitors, I feel it's time to pay it forward and provide guidance and help to entrepreneurs. Whether you're at the idea stage, whether you have a side hustle and you're thinking to go full-time, or whether you have been at it for a while, but you've been struggling at crossing that scale chasm. I'll be covering topics like business planning, growth planning, finance, tips on sales and marketing, best practices for back office systems, things like hiring versus contracting, onshoring versus offshoring versus nearshoring, and we'll also include tips on a myriad of events that happen outside of our control but do have an impact on the business. Think of what's going on in the crypto space, or maybe in the environmental space, or maybe in the space space. Things happen at times outside of our control but have a direct impact on our business. I started my career as a hardware design engineer. I was working for Home Shopping Network and rebuilding the whole voice response system. Engineering did not click with me. I was not fired, I did not get laid off. I was doing okay, but I wasn't enjoying what I was doing. So after a lot of deliberation and discussion with my wife, I mustered all the courage I had and walked into the CEO office. I said, I'm doing okay at my job, but I'm not enjoying it. Is there something else I can do for the company? I was terrified. And he said, here are a couple of opportunities. So it took us a few weeks to transition. And once I started to work in this area that I loved, I wasn't thinking about it as an 8-to-5 job. And I started to develop a passion for what I was doing. And promotions ensued, and in one time I was asked to lead 2 offices, one in California and one in Toronto, which led to my move to the Silicon Valley and get this exposure to the startup world. I'm really passionate about helping founders get their startups off the ground. How to get that very first sale, how to get that very first hire, how to put a strategy for growth, how to think about mergers and acquisitions. So the tips and the best practices that we've learned over the years, I want to share those with you. I want you to grow the business and be able to keep it and grow it and be successful at it or potentially sell it. But the one thing I really care about, I don't want you to have the scars, the wounds that we accumulated over these 20 or so years building those 4 companies. Even in your busiest startup days, you gotta find time to calm your mind. You gotta find time to nurture your body and your spirit. Be it exercise, outdoors, be it doing your spiritual practice, whatever works for you. It is really important, even if you're working 12, 13, 14 hours a day, you gotta take time to rejuvenate and be ready to take on the next challenge the next morning. And make sure you do something you enjoy. For me, it's listening to audiobooks in the outdoors, be it skiing, hiking, being out there in the mountains with a bow. We won't cover this in this series, we can talk about it offline. And one more thing, martial arts. I'm a 3rd-degree black belt in Aikido, a Japanese martial art that combines the spirit and the integrity of traditional martial arts and combines with it a harmonious way to resolve a conflict. Not only do I enjoy these arts and hobbies, but it's fascinating to me the parallels they have to consulting. It's humbling, it keeps you on your toes. I think it's important for your competitiveness, so keep learning. Hopefully, you'll be better at what you do and you'll succeed at a much faster rate. In addition, I enjoy being of help and service to others. My wife and I got married when we were young, when we were in college, and that volunteering bug got into us early on and it hasn't left. So we spend time, we're very committed to helping others in areas such as bridging the inequality gap and also being mentors to the youth and to young professionals. So if you're wanting to go on this grand adventure of entrepreneurship, whether you're just an idea in your mind or whether you're stuck and you can't grow your business, subscribe to this channel. I'd love to be of help and we can work through anything together.